From the Detroit Free Press, it's Wednesday, July 15th. Here are today's top stories. Presented by Bush's Fresh Food Market. Bush's has over 4,000 Michigan products, including the freshest fruit and vegetables, meat, seafood, and baked goods. Stop by one of Bush's 16 locations for the personal service you expect from your neighborhood grocer.
For the Detroit Free Press, I'm Kerry Jr. II. The State Health Department reports 584 new cases of the coronavirus. Even though cases have increased over recent days, deaths have remained low. 6 deaths were reported yesterday. In total, there are over 70,000 cases and over 6,000 deaths statewide. A 4th of July party in Saline, Michigan is connected to 43 confirmed cases of the coronavirus. The Washtenaw County Health Department also identified 66 exposed contacts from the house party. According to county health officials, most of the cases are ages 15 to 25. The department is asking all who attended the party to self-quarantine for 14 days. Over in Antrim County, large groups gathered at Torch Lake Sandbar on the same day. People who attended that event are testing positive for COVID-19. All potential contacts couldn't be identified. Therefore, the State Health Department is requesting that all attendees monitor themselves for symptoms, get tested, and self-quarantine. Stricter mask requirements were implemented on Monday by executive order. It requires businesses to refuse service to customers who do not wear masks. Failure to comply is a misdemeanor and a $500 fine. But that depends on where you live. A survey by the Free Press shows that Michigan County sheriffs aren't enforcing the order. Livingston, Macomb, and Van Buren sheriff offices have released statements saying they won't enforce citations. A spokesperson from Oakland County's sheriff office said the agency plans to respond to face mask complaints. They said the prosecutor of records and the courts will determine the consequences. A representative of the Wayne County Sheriff's Office says they plan to issue a warning first, then fine violators if officers have to readdress the situation. After 7 weeks of clinical trials, Pfizer and BioNTech announced 2 potential vaccines fast-tracked by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The designation could speed up the regulatory process and bring the vaccines to market faster. Pfizer has been prepping their Kalamazoo manufacturing site to assist in vaccine production, and researchers completed phases 1 and 2 for one of the vaccines designated for fast-track approval. If the vaccine is proven effective, Pfizer will produce it in Kalamazoo. The results of one of the 2 vaccine trials is available. Reporter Kristen Jordan-Shamus is here to explain what the data means. So what are the researchers looking for? What constitutes a positive result?
Well, they're hoping to find a vaccine that produces an immune response. And what that means is that they want the vaccine to essentially trick the body into believing that it's already had the coronavirus. So it creates antibodies to the virus. So if that person happens to be exposed to COVID-19 out in the world, instead of getting sick, that person's immune system will say, oh, I know that virus, I've had it already, and I'm not going to react to it this time. But the catch is that while scientists want to trigger an immune response to the virus, they don't want to trigger the uncomfortable and dangerous side effects. And the early data that was released from one of the 2 vaccine candidates, the side effects for some people included things like fever, headaches, fatigue, muscle and joint aches. And symptoms peaked about the 2nd day after vaccination and ended by about a week after vaccination.
There were 4 vaccines that were initially being tried. Of those 4, 2 are being fast-tracked. So that must mean that the trials that happened in May, June, phases 1 and 2 yielded positive results?
They do appear to be promising. The early data from one of the 2 vaccines showed that people did produce antibodies to the virus that causes COVID-19. And those 2 injections, spaced 21 days apart at lower doses, created more antibodies than the single higher dose.
Is there a part of the study that tests subjects that have had the vaccine towards the exposure of COVID-19 to see that the vaccine works? Or how do they know this works? Is it just the elevated antibodies the only indicator?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that they're deliberately exposing people to COVID-19 after they've been vaccinated. But arguably, we are living in a pandemic. I mean, one could say that we all have the potential for exposure just by walking around.
What can we expect moving forward, and when can we expect some sort of results?
The hope is that at least one of the vaccine candidates will pass the next couple of phases and will be authorized for use in people starting in late fall or early 2021. Pfizer says it'll produce 10 million doses this fall and 1.2 billion doses in 2021.
Thank you so much again, Kristen. I appreciate it.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Researchers say the next phase of clinical trials, which they expect to begin at the end of this month, could enlist more than 30,000 people. That's the latest. For more information on COVID-19 in Michigan, visit www.freep.com.
For the Detroit Free Press, I'm Meredith Spellbring. 2 Michigan fishermen caught state record-breaking fish during the quarantine period. One even weighed as much as the average 3-year-old kid. A fisherman caught a 33-pound bigmouth buffalo on Lake Erie on May 25th, breaking the previous record of 32 pounds from the year before. The other state record-breaking fish is a 9-pound, 15-ounce quillback carp sucker that was caught on the Muskegon River on April 28th. The previous record was an 8-pound, 52-ounce fish caught in 2015. Both record-breaking fish were verified by the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. To qualify as a record-breaking fish, it must exceed the prior state record, weight, and be verified by the department. Records are only recognized by weight, not length. A full list of Michigan's record-holding fish can be found online at michigan.gov/state-record-fish. For more information on the catches, head to freep.com.
If you're a fan and want to support our quality local journalism, subscribe. Go to freep.com/special offer.